Good morning. Today we are going to continue the previous topic of embryology of heart. So till now we have seen that there was a heart tube was formed and it is in future is going to make some parts of the heart. Now the next step is heart looping. So heart looping, as you can see, it is starts from day number 23 and completes on the day 28. So now the beating is going to start, but it doesn't look properly like the heart. So there is little bit differentiation. So let us see one small animation for this particular understanding. So you can see here to form an adult heart, the heart loop needs to be looped. This looping process occurs between 23 to 28 day of the embryonic life. And this whole process is what we have seen in the tube format. तो पहले क्या था ट्यूब बना था ट्यूब के बाद then we got these four bigger pictures and then each of them is now going to form some loops. So they will how they are going to move. So like we see bulbous cortex right now it forms embryo heart and adult heart to form the different chambers like primitive ventricle. It is going to move towards the left side and then it will form this particular type of thing that is adult heart में कैसे दिखेगा तो forms the ventricles most of the left ventricles. Then you can see primitive atrium. It will move posterior and superior side. The atriums are on the superior side, so it is going to form the parts of right and left atria. And then the last one is sinus venosus. It also moves upside and posterior, superior and posterior, and then it forms the superior vena cava and parts of some parts of right atrium where they are going to come down. So this is called the looping of the heart. We'll see again one by one. Again, we will see it. So it will be starting from 23rd day when they are going to form the primitive heart. Then it starts beating on the 22nd day. Then some movement is going to occur in each of the chambers of primitive heart, like bulbous cortex, primitive ventricle, primitive atrium, and sinus venosus. बस याद रखना है कि किधर मूव कर रहा है. Bulbous cortex moves towards the inferior, anterior, and to right. Three things: inferior, anterior, to rights, and going to form the right ventricle mostly and outflow part. Then primitive ventricle it moves to the left, and it is going to form the most part of the left ventricle. Then the next part is primitive atrium. It moves posterior and superior, and it is going to form the most part of right atrium and left atrium in the adult heart. Then you see there is last part sinus venosus. It will also go posterior superior and it is going to form the superior vena cava and some connecting part of the right atrium. So this is called the looping of the heart. How the heart is going to move heart to form the adult heart-like structures. So again you can see atric sac, the movement of atric sac is not to do because it is remains fixed within the pericardium during the looping. Then bulbous cortex you can see we have already talked it moves inferior anterior. Then there is primitive ventricle. Again you can see it will move to the left to form the most of the ventricles. Then primitive atrium it moves to the superior and posterior side as we have already seen. You can see again here and it is going to form the most of the atrias. Okay, and the last one is sinus venosus, again superior and posterior, and again it will form the upper part, superior part, and it will going to form the in future it is superior vena cava and part of sinus atrium. So this was about the looping of the heart. Now we have to talk about the separations. These things which are differentiating the things. So we have to now form the septations. We have to form some septas. So septas, as you can understand, there will be atrioventricular septa, foramen ovale, interventricular septum, muscular part, atriopulmonary septum, and interventricular septum, membranous part. So these different type of septas are now going to start to form the things. One by one we will see. So it will start actually on the day 28, and this is some picture what we have to see. So when you see the septas, so you see first we are going to have this type of structure. Means we have the primitive type of heart is ready, which is dorsal and ventral root, and it is in the coronal section which you are going to see right now. So you will see this part will form the atria, then endocardial cushions, That is swelling, thickening of migrated cell that will fuse to form septa and valves. Then interventricular septum, this is the upper, if you go to the upper side, form the septum between the two ventricles. And then the last thing is ventricles. So first we'll talk about anteroventricular septum. So it will also start from the day 28. And first of all, we have to talk about the endocardial cushions. The cushions cannot be something like which is coming out from that muscular wall and they are moving towards the both of each other. So it will separate atria and ventricles. So they are going to move like right endocardial cushions, left endocardial cushions, ventral endocardial cushions, and dorsal endocardial. And each side is pushing inside so that they are going to join together and make the separation. So this is called endocardial cushions. तो किससे बना होगा एंडोकार्डियम से बना होगा. So let's see how it is going to happen. So fuse endocardial cushions, you can see like this, they are going to fuse from the anteroventricular side and they are going to form the anteroventricular septum, and then ultimately the part which is not attached will be form the anteroventricular canal. So the fused endocardial cushion together and now they are fully formed endocardial septum on day 42. So it take too much time. From day 28 to 42, slowly it is going to happen and they are going to form the fused endocardial cushions. Again, you will see how it is going to happen. The dorsal to ventral side, they are going to join together like this. Next, atrioventricular septum. So separating the atria from the ventricles, and it will happen in the again 28 to 42nd day. Now foramen ovale. So foramen ovale, as you can know, in the intrauterine heart, this is the opening between the right and left atrium, which is having some special type of shunt-like of phenomena, so that it is going to bypass the pulmonary circulation, and this is only the part of fetal circulation. In adults, it is closed. So you can see here, we have to step back in the time so that we can look the suppression of Sund's form. So there are two things which you have to keep in mind. One is septum primum, one is septum secundum. So ये दोनों मिलके क्या बनाएंगे? Actually, they are going to form the interatrial septum, but there will be opening and which will be closed in future. So foramen ovale begins formation from the day 28 and is completed on the day 46. So how it is going to happen? The previous one, if you can recall, it was dorsoventricle. Now at day 28, before the endocardial cushion fused to form atrioventricular septum, there is the muscular septum begins to form from the dorsal of the roof of primitive atrium, and this is called as septum primum. The septum primum grows toward the fusing endocardial cushion through the day 35. So you can see this is primum atrium roof, the upper part you can see from here, and they are moving towards because this is the current position. In future means on the day of 35, what would happen? A septum primum will come from the roof part. You see, it is coming from the roof part, septum primum, and then it will grow further and it is going to form the differentiation, but leaving a gap between them. Again, you can see this part also. This, then this will form, and this a small hole is going to be generated. Okay, between the endocardial cushions and the septum primum. See here. So these are some holes which are to be foramen secundum in future, and there is a gap called as foramen primum in the lower part. Next, what we have to see? Next, all things will be now fine, like septum primum. This part is septum primum. Before the endocardial cushion fuses together to form anteroventricular septum, a muscular septum begins to form the dorsal part of roof of the primitive atrium, and this is called as septum primum. Septum primum किधर जाएगा? Endocardial cushion से join होने जाएगा till day 35. So this पर्दे के जैसे जो चीज है, it is called as septum primum. Then you can see foramen primum. This is the part which is going to go foramen ovale in future. Then there are some foramen secundum. There are some holes, and then atrioventricular septum. जो cushions दोनों आके मिल जाता है, it will form the atrioventricular septum. So what actually are these holes? So these holes are some top part of the septum primum of perforations that eventually coalesce, जो सब पीछे से मिलके आगे चल के क्या बनाएगा? Foramen secundum. Foramen ovale, and there is something called as foramen secundum also, and foramen complete septum primum forms on the day 35. We have to remember the days. तो डे 35 पे क्या होता है, सेप्टम प्राइमम का कंप्लीटली फॉर्मेशन हो जाता है. दिस इज द सेप्टम प्राइमम. अगेन विल वॉच इट, सेप्टम प्राइमम. नाउ वी विल टॉक अबाउट द सेप्टम सेकेंडम. सेकेंड से नाम से पता चल रहा है, इट विल फॉर्म आफ्टर द प्राइमम. So after foramen secundum is formed, the secundum is septum secundum begins to grow. This time from the ventral part of roof of the right atrium. तो आपके कहाँ से शुरू होगा, ventral part of roof. Septum secundum grows toward the endocardial cushion, but never fuses. ये कभी fuse नहीं होगा, और वही गैप क्या आगे चलते कहलाएगा, foramen ovale. You can see here, see properly. See, something is going to happen here. Yeah. Septum secundum is growing just a little bit from the side of the septum primum, but it will never get close to it, and then there will be a gap is going to be formed. Again, you can see this part now. See this part again. A certain type of things is going to generate, which is from the ventral part of the roof. Remember, ventral part of roof, and then this gap is going to be remain forever. Is in fetal life, and this will be called as septum secundum. No. How now you can see how exactly foramen ovale looks. So you see this was the part, foramen secundum, which was formed from this particular, it is foramen secundum. तो ये कब बना था, जब पहला वाला बना था primum, it is septum primum. See? And this is septum secundum, which is coming downwards, and this is the gap which is remain. This gap is called as foramen ovale. तो blood कैसे move करेगा? The septum primum is flexible. You can see it is flexible and will open into the left atrium when the blood flows from the right atrium passes through the foramen ovale. Septum secundum, this is septum secundum, is sturdy and hard. ये केवल क्या करतेगा, दोनों चैम्बर्स को सेपरेट करने का काम करेगा. This you can understand. This part is little bit movable. In this movement, you can see by now animation like this. Now the blood is going to move like this, and this particular septum primum is going to make the wave from the septum. This is secundum, foramen secundum. Okay. Next part. So this is how ultimately the foramen ovale is going to form. Foramen ovale allows the oxygenation, nutrition with blood from placenta to send from right atrium to left atrium directly. This shunt bypasses the pulmonary circulation where there is no function of oxygenation in utero and allows for direct access to the systemic circulation. So this is how the formation of the septum primum and septum secundum, along with that secundum and primum foramens, they are going to form the foramen ovale. This part is very important because it is not a hole between anything, it is actually the gap which is going to be formed.